Good morning to all. Circuit theory. Today we discuss about DC mesh analysis. Mesh. A loop which does not contain any other loop or loops within is called a mesh. Loop is a set of branches forming a closed path with which passes through no node more than one is defined as a loop. Shown in figure. Circuit given. That circuit consists of mesh 1 and mesh 2. Mesh current capital I1 and capital I2 mesh 2 current. I1 mesh 1 current. V1 and V2 are sources. Small I1, small I2, small I3 are element current or branch current. We assume branch currents I1, I2 and I3 and directions. Assume and mesh current capital I1 and I2. Sources directions are given. Sources V1 is opposite to capital I1 direction. V2 is same directions. Mesh current I2 directions. V1 is rise voltages. So put negative sign in equations. So we obtain first equations from mesh 1. Mesh current flowing capital I1, that resistance R1. Mesh 1 contain R1 resistance, R2 resistance and V1 source. So capital I1 into R1 plus small R2. In small R2 resistance, the current two mesh currents are flow, that is in opposite direction. So put R2 into capital I1 minus I2 bracket minus V1. Voltages are rise conditions, so put negative sign opposite to capital I1 direction. So we obtain equations. Finally we obtain matrix format R1 plus R2 minus R2 minus R2 R2 plus R3. Matrix format first parameter obtained from the mesh 1 contain R1 and R2 resistance. So put R1 plus R2. Second row last parameter, the mesh 2 contain R2 and R3. So R2 plus R3. The common elements mesh 1 and mesh 2 are R2. So put second parameter R2. Put negative signs for common element into capital I1 I2 is equal to V1 minus V2. That is the explanation of matrix format. That is obtained from equations. Above equations. I1 I2 matrix is equal to inverse matrix of R1 plus R2 minus R2 minus R2 R2 plus R3 into V1 minus V2 matrix. Small I1 branch currents is equal to capital I1. Small I2 branch current is equal to capital I1 minus capital I2. Small I3 branch current is equal to capital I2. Small I1, the mesh current capital I1 are flow. So small I1 is equal to capital I1. Branch current small I2, the two mesh currents are flow in opposite direction. So I1 minus I2, put negative sign for I2. Small I3 branch current is equal to current flow, mesh current 2 only flow. So small I3 is equal to capital I2. Next we see hint for forming mesh equations or mesh matrix format shown in notes. Easy solve problems. Rij, capital Rij is equal to sigma j Rij, the sum of all the resistances connected to the ith mesh. Rij given negative of the resistance between meshes I and j, or it means mesh 1 and 2. Put negative sign for common elements, that is point. We form matrix R1 plus R2 minus R2 minus R2, R2 plus R3 for 2 by 2 matrix or 2 meshes matrix format. I1 I2 mesh currents is equal to sources V1 minus V2. That is hint for forming mesh equations. Thank you. Circuit theory. Mesh equations. How to form mesh equation. Kirchhoff's voltage law apply. The algebraic sum of the voltage around a closed circuit is 0. Using that formula you find equations. Voltage signs how to write. Positive to negative voltage is drop. Left side equation put positive sign. Negative to positive voltage rise. Left side equation put negative sign. That is for sign for voltages. Form matrix formers. The circuit given model circuit. Consider I1 direction. First mesh current 1 direction. V1. Consider mesh 1 direction. V1 go to minus to plus. That is rise voltages. Put negative sign for left side. Right side in matrix former put plus sign. Consider I2 direction. V2 I2 direction V2 go to plus to minus. So plus sign for left side. Negative sign for right side. That is I2 direction. Voltage matrix we form V1 minus V2 for right side. Put minus sign for V2 minus V2. V1 consider I1 direction, that is go to I1 direction. That is model for how to form voltage matrix and signs and equations, mesh equations. Thank you.